The following is the views of MC and Jester. If you don't like our views, don't listen to our podcast.
Welcome to the podcast. Listen to Jester and MC.
All right, welcome back to the podcast. Listen to episode 3 of the Survivor Series as we discuss with MC. I just love doing that. I love doing that part with him because I pause for like a half an hour and then he's like, "Hello, hello, it's MC," and we're also here with the live on Skype from Northern Mountains area. He's out in the mountains right now. He's doing this with tinfoil wrapped around his head so he can communicate with us. Wrestling independent wrestler from the Southwest. We are still talking Survivor Series this episode, so please welcome The Rock. Or Rocky.
Thanks, guys.
I want some of that tinfoil, Rock. Can you send me some?
I was expecting everybody thought it was going to be The Rock. They thought it was going to be, so that's. I'm live. I'm doing a workout session right now because that's all I do is work out and take pictures of me eating pancakes and pizza. That's all The Rock does on his Instagram page. If anybody follows him, he always takes pictures of himself working out and then eating.
And he takes pictures in front of the Ford.
In front of the what?
Ford working out and eating stuff.
Yeah,
he's got that big black Ford truck. He takes lots of pictures with that.
And he's eating like junk food, and he's like, "This is how you look like me." And it's like, that is such bullshit, man. No one eats a whole large pizza, a stack of pancakes, and then is all ripped up and being like, "Dude, I'm ready for my Fast and Furious show again." Or I think this time I'm not going to be the Tooth Fairy. I'm going to take on the role as Easter Bunny, and I'm going to have a new episode where I'm the Easter Bunny, and I go around and I deliver eggs and smack people around. That's pretty much where we're going with The Rock. Again, they need to compare. They need to do Kevin Hart and The Rock again, and just have episodes like that. They should have The Rock as the Easter Bunny and Kevin Hart as a leprechaun, and they go in and they just whip everybody else's asses that have holidays. So they beat up Santa Claus, they kick the shit out of whoever, the Cupid, and then they beat the shit out of the Tooth Fairy and just kick everybody's ass. I think that would be a good movie, and I'm going to go ahead and copyright that right now so no one take that.
Speaking of The Rock, he's got that directorial, I think, debut. I don't know if it's his debut. He's got a movie, if some of you people have seen, listeners, it's in trailers. It was before the movie Creed 2, and I seen it this past weekend. Wrestling with My Family, I think, is the name of it, and that's the story of the rise to fame of Paige and the story of her career and her brothers trying to get into, her brother and her trying to get into WWE, and The Rock makes a cameo in it too. So looks like it could be entertaining. I don't know if you guys have seen that. What's your thoughts?
I seen the trailer, and it actually does look really entertaining. But in the other part of it too, so did the Tooth Fairy that he starred in, and so did Jumanji look like a good movie. But then you get in there and you pay your $12 and you're down by $40 after popcorn candy, and then you sit down and you realize, you know what, I just got ripped the fuck off watching a movie like this, because again, it sounds awesome, but who doesn't have stories like this getting into professional wrestling? Why don't you just write everybody's backstory? Why don't you write how everybody got into it? But again, wrestling fans are going to flock to this, and this is just another way that WWE and the wrestling world is taking advantage of those wrestling fans, and they're going to rip out their wallets, and they're going to go in there, and then they're going to come out disappointed. So if I was you, I'd save that money. I would go see an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, because those movies never disappoint. And even though he's like 70 years old, Arnold Schwarzenegger is still the real action hero.
I agree with you, Jester, 200%. The Ramrock is not a movie theater guy, so Fighting with My Family is going to be if it comes to Netflix, watch for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. I mean, I'm with you on spending all that money. If you could get a cheap showing, $5 showing early, that's usually kind of how I try to watch my films now, so I'm not hugely disappointed. Like, if I've seen any of those Star Wars films and would have paid full price to see any of those, specifically The Last Jedi, I think I would would have want to left the theater during that. So definitely try the cheap showing if you're on the fence. But I don't know. It looks curious to me. I enjoyed Creed 2, by the way. I know you guys have yet to see that one, but plug for that movie. I think that's worth it if you're a fan of the Rocky franchise. That's a must see. I believe it does a great job tying in to all the other movies as well.
Dude, not only am I a fan of the Rocky franchise, that every time I hear Eye of the Tiger, dude, I get pumped. I go outside and I start punching babies. I'm punching cats. I'm punching everything in the world. I go to the store and start punching people. That song riles me up. But I'm telling you why I'm excited to see Creed, and I don't want to talk about it right now, is I just want to see Ivan. I want to see the Russian. I want to see him come back because, man, that dude looks like he's in shape. And I want to see him do his Russian accent. I think they should bring back Claude Van Damme and make him do his Russian accent from his first movie he was ever in, which was No Retreat, No Surrender. If anybody's old enough to remember that movie, that was the funniest shit movie ever. You can see it on YouTube. I think they should bring back every martial like they did for Expendables, and they should have a Rocky, like Rocky 7. Yeah. See, I'm gonna go. I gotta leave right now. I'm gonna go punch a dog or something. I'm gonna punch anything. Probably a good idea. Let's go, just punch everybody in the face. And then I start doing push-ups. I go find stairs. I just run them real fast. I go find some old guy and I'm like, talk to me like Mickey, and he's like, duh, you could do it. And I'm like, yeah. Then I just start running real fast. And then I always this is the best part. I like to find a group of just children and I make them chase me, and I run super fast up the stairs, and then I get up and I jump around, and all the kids cheer my name, and I don't even know why those kids were even cheering for him. No one knows who the hell he is, dude. Seriously.
Hey, do you get so excited that you want to just hack action figures up with a machete tied to a tree?
Oh, here's my theory. Here's my theory of that part of Rocky when all the kids are chasing him. The real reason the kids are chasing him is they found out that he had money, and they were like, "Let's get it from him." So they chased him down, and they cut it right before they stabbed him and mugged him right there on the stop of the steps. Because if you look at the scene, he's jumping around, and when he's like, "Yeah," he's screaming. He's actually going, "Oh," because he's getting stabbed right in the back as he's putting his arm up. So. That's the true story of what happened in Philadelphia at that moment.
All right, yes.
All right, we're back to wrestling.
Yeah, so we have the awesome movies and stuff, and we'll discuss Creed 2 again and stuff. But we're down to our last match anyway, so we had some episode time to fill. So it's all good.
Oh, well, I thought we were going to discuss video games. So,
we will. That will be a future show as well, but. We got to finish our Survivor Series one, which is we were down to the Brock Lesnar with the Paul Heyman.
Main event.
Yes, main event time. So Rock, what did you think of this match?
Brock Lesnar, Raw's Universal Champion, taking on the newly crowned WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan. In a crazy turn of events, the SmackDown before this pay-per-view, Daniel Bryan beats AJ Styles to take the title. So this whole main event was built around the rematch between Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles, which, my personal opinion, I would have rather seen the rematch with AJ Styles over a new match with Daniel Bryan. However, as we discussed in the last one, AJ's trying to get a lighter career. He's trying to get a lighter schedule. Daniel Bryan's the new champion. This match played out pretty much how I thought it was going to play out, to be honest with you. Brock Lesnar dominates the entire first half of the match. Daniel Bryan, I guess he's trying to be a heel now. The ref, I guess at some point in time, the ref is down. Lesnar goes for a pin. Daniel, obviously the ref's down. He can't count it. Daniel gets up and he hits Brock Lesnar with the low blow. And at this point in time, he completely turns the whole tide of the match around. And Daniel Bryan's actually starts beating the crap out of Brock Lesnar, which was pretty surprising.
But I got a question. How realistic did it look that Daniel Bryan could beat the crap out of Brock Lesnar when Daniel Bryan's like the size of Brock Lesnar's pectoral muscle?
Absolutely.
They did a good job, though.
They did, because he hit him with the low blow.
He kicks the shit out of Daniel Bryan for that first part of that. So they set it up like that, which is, again, that's about as disturbing, I think, as the kendo shots that Charlotte Flair was given to Ronda, because you're just here, okay, you're supposed to kind of not like him now because he beat AJ, which is our fan favorite. We wanted to see the rematch. Surprisingly enough, you wanted to see AJ get his win on Brock, but they went in this direction. And now Daniel Bryan, who's still getting cheered, but maybe not as much because people are angry with him how he won, he is getting, like, this would be serious babyface sympathy here, because he is getting creamed. I forget how many times he was taking a Suplex City at the beginning of that. I think it hit double digits. But, you would – how would you not feel for this man as he is getting creamed by Brock? But
do you think he was afraid taking those suplexes, that he had that neck injury? Do you think he was worried that, I mean, that could be a big risk for him. He could land on his neck.
He didn't seem to care. He took it like a champ.
Yeah, and Brock Lesnar is notorious for working very stiff and just not giving a fuck in the ring, quite frankly. And so I'm sure Daniel Bryan was pretty scared.
Yeah, there's some beef, and I don't know, Rock, how much you know of this stuff. There's some legit beef with Brock and Jericho, that when Brock flung the Singh brothers, I believe it was, when Jinder Mahal, I think the Monday before this pay-per-view, went out there to tell him, hey, I almost faced you at the last Survivor Series the previous year, but AJ beat me. He proceeds to beat up Jinder, of course, who's a big guy, can take it, but he's flinging these tiny guys, the 205 live size, Sunil and Samir Singh, and he's flipping them around. And then even Jericho's commenting on Twitter, this is brutal and totally unsafe and stuff. So there's some stiff heat with Brock and Jericho. Somebody says, we'd like to see Brock on a podcast. Jericho says that'll never happen. So there's some stuff for his style that Jericho is definitely not a fan of. And Jericho obviously has not been in WWE since that special appearance in, I believe, the greatest Royal Rumble. So yeah, there's some beef there.
I think the reason he's not on a podcast, they probably can't find headphones to fit his ear, because his head is huge. It looks like his head is monstrous, and I don't think they probably had to tie two headphones together to get him in a podcast so he could listen to himself talk. So that's just my opinion.
He's just not.
He didn't have to wear one at the Stone Cold podcast. So.
Yeah, that's right. That was the video on the video cast on the network.
Yeah. Let me ask you this, MC. Did Jericho have any qualms when Randy Orton nearly broke Samil Singh's neck, backdropping him through the table at last year? I don't think so.
That's what I think. Yeah.
How much of it was Brock Lesnar's fault, and how much of it was Samil not taking his bumps right? I mean,
I don't know. I know that when he was speaking to Orton, I thought you were going to talk about this, but yeah, when he was bludgeoning Orton, I think that's where they got into a backstage altercation where supposedly Jericho went up to Brock and confronted him, and I'll give Jericho a lot of credit for having the balls to not be afraid of the man who's twice the size and looked like he'd tear his head off. Yeah, he confronted Brock over that, thinking he was being unsafe with Randy, and drew blood the hard way with those stiff elbow shots. So there's some bad blood there going back. I was looking into it. I didn't know if you knew anything else about it. But, yeah, there's definitely some ill will being harbored there. Jericho would definitely
between Jericho and Brock. I mean, Brock Lesnar, we all know he's there for a payday. He doesn't love the business. He's not a wrestling fan. He didn't grow up wanting to do this. He's there for a paycheck. And you know what? He draws money. He's gonna keep coming back. He doesn't care if he's gonna go out there and hurt somebody, which sucks. I mean, nobody wants to see an injury, a real legit injury in the business. But my question is, last year when Randy Orton was in his feud with Jinder Mahal, and he was just Randy Orton is throwing the Singh brothers around.
Yeah, that was not the one.
And he just backdrops Samil Singh, and Samil Singh lands on the back of his neck and bounces off the back of his neck off the table. The table doesn't even break. And did Jericho have any qualms? Did Jericho jump all over Randy Orton for that? Probably, no.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, I mean, but you don't have probably the bad blood, I guess, he has with Orton. But yeah, Orton just shrugged it off. I think when the Singh brothers are taking those sick bumps,